Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's Tom's Cabin, Books and More, your weekly get together as we chase our passion for the written word. I'm your host, Tom McAuliffe, author of 34 novels these days, and we have been doing great. We're almost to 50 episodes, and thought I'd talk to you a little bit about kind of where we've been and where we're going. Had a wonderful St. Valentine's Day romance novel episode. Then we did books about presidents with a wonderful interview with Mark Love. Then we did Flava Kennedy, of course, from her fantasy books and such, Flava Kennedy, and Jim Butcher, New York Times bestselling author. It's been in the news a lot lately. Jim Butcher, we had a wonderful interview with him in the beginning of March. And then we did for St. Patty's Day, we did Irish themed books, don't you know? And then, of course, we just had the part one and part two of our true crime interviews with Rod Sadler, former police officer up in Michigan, and Michael Balter. So, two crime award-winning crime authors there talking about their work. And now I just looking forward, I wanted to kind of let you know we're going to basically do a wrap up of the Books by the Bay Festival in Pensacola. We've got a bunch of interviews that we got there direct from the authors, and they were in their booths. So we'll give a big tour about that and a big wrap up report about that. And then we're going to have some author interviews that we had at the festival. Then coming up, we've got in the beginning of May, we've got Hispanic themed books for Cinco de Mayo Day. Car books are coming up, summer books, books about the gay and LBGT experience is coming up at the end of May, along with military themed books for Memorial Day and World War II books for June 6th. So that's kind of what's been coming up. We're looking forward to your emails, your ideas, your thoughts, and such like that here at Tom's Cabin. Well, let's get underway. And away we go. Well, welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends here at Tom's Cabin. We've got some special segments here for you. We're real excited to have our next author on. She's an exhibitor at Books on the Bay 2026. Put your hands together for Ashley Adams.
Hey, everybody.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. How you doing?
Doing great. How are you, Tom?
Well, good. It's pretty
Super
exciting.
excited.
And
Yes, I
uh,
cannot wait for the new venue. I was an exhibitor last year when I released Stitchers, and so I love the downtown, but I'm super excited to be right next to the water. I think it's going to be a great spot for us this year.
now you were an exhibitor last year,
Yes, yeah, I
and
was.
and I think that's your third time though, wasn't it?
It yes, in a way. The very first year, I was, I guess you could say, like a patron. I just came to visit because I thought book festival. I need to come to this. And while I was walking around, I thought, okay, this is where I'm going to debut my first novel, and
Okay.
and that's what I did. I debuted Stitchers last year at Books by the Bay. So yeah,
Wow.
it was awesome.
Well, I
Yeah.
we have something else in common in that I used to do the morning show at Rock 103 in Owensboro, Kentucky.
No way!
Yeah.
Yay! Go Cats! All right.
And I know you're originally from Kentucky,
I
and
am,
and
yeah.
such like that.
Not too far, in fact. I'm from Hopkinsville.
And tell us a little bit about how you became an author.
So, it kind of starts when I became a reader, to be honest. I hated reading until about my sophomore year of high school. And then, those lists that you get in high school that you get to pick a book out of. So my dad had been bugging me for years to read The Hobbit. He's like, "You're going to love this." And I'm like, "Please, you kidding me?" And so finally I see it on the list and I thought, okay, kill two birds with one stone, make my dad happy. get a grade, and then did not count on the fact that within a week I had devoured Tolkien, all of Tolkien, The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings within a week. Not all of Tolkien, but um, in any case, and then after that, like several years later, I had a boyfriend who introduced me to R.A. Salvatore and the Drizzt series, and I started reading it. It was the first. I'm an action junkie, and so I love action movies and that sort of thing. And so Salvatore was the first time that I had read an author who like really brought action scenes to life on the page and made it count for the character. And so I love that about his writing. And I read it and I thought, I could do that. I was like all of 18. Like how like prideful is that? Like I'm like, I could do that. And that kind of started my journey as a writer. I started, giving my handwritten manuscripts to my grandmother up in Hoptown, and then moved through all the technology as a writer. But yeah, that's really what started it. And so that love of fantasy and action is kind of what brought me, like, you can really see that in my books even now, like with Stitchers. Who doesn't want to see like little old ladies and detectives stab vampires with knitting needles? Like that just sounds awesome.
And how many
Yeah.
books have you published?
This is my first book, actually. I'm working on. This is going to be it's going to be the Stewards of the Shield trilogy. So there's only going to be three in the series, and then I'm also working on another project that kind of has a working title. I'm not entirely sure if I like it yet, but it's being workshopped as well. So I'm excited about all of the books that are going to be coming out in the next couple of years. So.
And you're going to be featuring that at the show, naturally.
Yes, Stitchers is going to be there. You can find me. I'm probably going to have giant knitting needles that we can have fun with, and have my Stitchers book with me.
Well, let's talk a little bit about your writing process. Would you say that you
Yeah.
are a planner, a plotter, or a pantser? Do you just sit down at the typewriter or at the keyboard and things start flowing out, or do you create a spreadsheet with all the subplots and all the...
All the stuff. Yeah, I'm kind of so by nature, I am definitely a pantser. By nature. But as I've gotten, further along in my writing journey, and having done quite a bit of editing, because in real life, so to speak, in my day job, I do editing. Um, for I'm a technical writer, and so I understand the value of kind of coming into it with a plan. But I've realized, so I'm kind of like half and half. So I plan enough to where my creativity still has room to wiggle and to go in weird places. And so, yeah, so now I'm half and half. But when I first started, like the book, the series that I am workshopping now, or not the series, but the book, I totally pantsed it. It was so much fun. I pantsed the whole thing in a month, and it was just refreshing. And now I'm like, oh man, I missed this and I missed that. And so like the editor in me is like, why didn't you just plan a little bit ahead? You could have fixed some of that ahead of time. So yeah.
Have you ever fooled with dictation or anything like that?
I tried and I can't really get into it, to be honest. Like I know, like I don't know what it is about it, but I think it's because um I don't know. I think it's because like when I sit down at the keyboard, like my thoughts just flow, and it feels more natural for me to just type it out. And because I feel like I struggle more when I speak. And so I pause and then I lose the flow and it brings me out of the story. Whereas if I'm at the keyboard, I can just, I can just type, and I think it just works better for me.
Well, if there was one thing that you would want readers to know about your new book, what would it be?
Oh, one thing to know about my new book. Well, let's see. I've already told you that it has, knitters stabbing vampires with knitting needles, which is awesome. But it's also, I kind of think it's a little bit cozy and a little bit action. And so my main character, Hury, she's a mom, and she is really she's a loyal person. And so like her she grew up away from the pantheon because she didn't agree with a lot of things that were going on over there. And so she kind of made her own, she and her family made her own family. And so if you like a story with heart, and some kick butt action, then yeah, this one would definitely be worth checking out.
And this will be the first of the trilogy, yeah?
Yeah, yeah, it'll be the first of the trilogy. I
Um,
can't tell you the other titles yet because I have to like, slowly get those out. But yes, they are all in the works.
well, we'll come by your booth and we'll get it out of you. We'll get the info.
Yeah,
We'll
that
get the
sounds like a
information.
deal. I'll just, give you a little hint.
Do you know where your booth is going to be at the show?
I'm going to be in the author's tent actually. So
Okay.
I believe, based on the website, I haven't heard this officially, but I believe I'm from 10 to 1. So I think I'm in that first time slot.
And
And I'm going to be like where the author group is.
and where can they find you online? You have a
Yeah, you can
website
find
or
me online. Yeah, I have a website, www.ashleyadams.com. And Ashley is Ashlea.
I love that
And
spelling. I love that spelling.
thank you.
That's
Yeah.
very Southern.
My,
I love that.
oh, well, in one time, so all my life, as you can imagine, people have told me that I spell my name wrong. And I went to Scotland, many years ago, and I was driving, taking a walk because it's just gorgeous. It was, summer. It was gorgeous over there, and I found a Lee. And as you know, Ashley means ash meadow, and it was a meadow, and they called it a Lee. It was spelled Lea, and I was like, oh, there we go. It is spelled correctly. See, all these people all this time. And then I had gone to a church there and I told them, I introduced myself, hey, I'm Ashley Adams. And then they said, Ashley's a boy's name. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it cannot win. Like it's either spelled wrong or it's wrong.
Well, hey, thank you
So
so much for sharing with us. We'll
thank
see
you
you.
so much. I look forward to seeing you.
All righty. God bless. From the sea, from the air, from the land, the latest in news and perspectives on books and music here at Tom's Cabin. Well, lots happening in the publishing world these days. It's time now for news. AI, of course, been in the news a lot lately with the settlement, the anthropic, I can never say that word, um, court settlement and such. But one of the big controversies surrounds the book called Shy Girl by Maya Ballard. It stems from accusations that the novel was written using artificial intelligence. Hachette Book Group, one of the largest publishers in the United States, pulled the book from publication after widespread accusations and an investigation by the New York Times. The novel, which follows a woman held captive by a man she met online, was initially self published and later acquired by Hatchett's Orbit imprint, imprint publishers. Hatchett's Orbit imprint publishers. The controversy has sparked discussions about the reliability of AI detection in book publishing. The publicity around the case has hurt Ballard mentally. She has mental health struggles, and the impact of the controversy on her life has been significant. As one of the largest book publishers in the United States, pulling the novel came after widespread accusations that the author had used artificial intelligence on purpose to write it. Hachette Book Group, approached by the apparent evidence last winter and investigated in addition by the New York Times, indicated that the anticipated novel Shy Girl appeared to be AI generated and that further investigation was warranted. A day later, the publishing company said it was removing the book from retail publication, from Amazon, as well as from all Hatchet's related websites. Well, they pulled that book entirely. The publisher said that Orbit Books, it's one of its publishing divisions, decided not to publish Shy Girl after all, and after reviewing the text, added that the book will be discontinued in the UK, where it was published already last fall, and has sold around 1,800 to 2,000 copies, according to the Nielsen book data people. Literary critics and the publishing industry, literary critics and publishing industry watchers seem to be applauding the decision, and the anti-AI movement is chalking up a win. Well, it's been no secret my feeling about AI. Loved assisted AI, things like Grammarly and Quillbot, things that help with grammar, spelling, sentence structure, sentence pacing, that kind of thing. But it's something totally, totally different to be able to give a prompt and have AI spit out a 20 to 30,000 word novel. And believe you me, it's happening more and more. Add to that the impact on our illustration and photography brothers and sisters, where more and more AI is generating images. And I've used generated AI images, and I've always let my readers know in the notes that we have done so. And the fact is that sometimes it can only only AI can illustrate some things that need to be illustrated. Give you an example. Here's a book from my latest book, U-166. Now, there is no way, A, that that photograph existed in real life, because I looked. I've been to the National Archives, I've been to the Archives, I've been to the German Naval Archives, not in person, but I've searched, and sometimes AI is the only way to illustrate a particular subject. So there is that. At the very least, my fellow authors, I encourage you, if you've used AI in any fashion, to let your reader know. They don't care most of the time. It's about the story. It's about the story. It's about the story. Moving forward in the news for this week, this one's from Publishers Weekly. The HarperCollins people, their union has won a new contract over there. Workers in the Association of HarperCollins Employees, members of Local 2110 of the UAW, voted to ratify their most recent union contract last week after several months of bargaining. It is the first contract negotiated between the company and the union since the historic strike at HarperCollins that ended with a contract agreement in February of 2023. Under the new contract, HarperCollins employees now have one of the highest base pays in the entire publishing industry. According to Local 2110, the new 3-year agreement includes annual increases to the base salary for all levels of employees covered by the contract, which includes about 180 staff members in the editorial, sales, publicity, design, legal, and marketing departments. They're a big organization over there. The new starting salary is $52,500, going up to $55,200 as of January 1st, 2028. So congratulations to those hardworking folks over at HarperCollins Publishing. Let's look around overseas and the Baker and Taylor saga, former one of the largest booksellers in Europe. They've filed a surprise Chapter 11 bankruptcy notice with the U.S. Bankruptcy Court in New Jersey. The filing caught many off guard and by surprise as B&T closed its doors when it ran out of funds following the failed sale to the company of ReaderLink. They were going to buy them, they were going out of business, didn't work out. The speculation about the filing is that the library wholesaler raised enough money through its liquidation sale of books, shelves, and other items that the creditors forced them to go through, as well as the court. While it's assumed that most of the funds raised went to the banks and secured creditors, the filing says that there is still some money available to pay unsecured creditors. And who knows, maybe they'll even sell off the name as well. That has value. But yeah, Baker and Taylor, the last throws there. And that's the news for this week. Thanks so much. They have announced the dates for 2026 for Author Nation and Reader Nation. Make it a point to come by next November in Las Vegas, Nevada. Don't look now, but it's time for the joke of the week. Well, I've been hard at work in the lab, sweating and pounding and working on some book promos. Hey, thanks again for coming by. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to tell your friends. Please like and subscribe. It helps us with the algorithms. Check out our library of videos. We're up to about 35, 40 videos now. And we'd love to hear from you. If you've got a book that you are excited about and want to let us know about, or you've got some critique about the show, just send us an email, bookinfo@nextstopparadise.com. We'll see you next week, Saturday at noon Central. You make it a point to be here. Get out there, find yourself a good fantasy book, and you make it a great day.